This tree may be blue, but you will not be blue when you see how easy it is to make out of just scrap glass and a little bit of time. So follow along and see how I do it. I used blue and white spray paint on a scrap piece of wood to paint a snowy frozen background, and I didn't record that part because I forgot, so sorry. The glass I'm using was already cut into rings, which I did on a wet saw with a diamond blade that's made for cutting glass. And I've tried other ways of cutting glass, and using the saw is just the fastest and easiest way to do this if you're cutting a lot of glass, which I do. Now, I was going to use the rings for another project that I just didn't get around to trying, so I went ahead and used the blue glass when I decided to make this tree. And I'm sacrificing the rings, but I can always get more by drinking more wine. The nice thing about the glass already cut into rings is that I can use my nippers to cut them in half or in quarters, and that is the perfect size and shape for the tree branches. I wanted to make this tree really symmetrical, so I am cutting even smaller pieces, just like, you know, maybe eighth of a slice, I guess, if that makes sense. So cutting the quarters into, you know, in half, and that just makes little smaller branches that I kind of use to fluff out the tree a little bit. And I absolutely love it. The background is perfect. It's a nice snowy frozen scene, and this color blue is just so dramatic. It's just amazing. I love working with this color blue. So all I'm doing is just fluffing out the branches and, you know, taking a look and making sure that it's symmetrical and everything is nice and even. And do you notice what I'm using for the trunk? It is the top of one of the bottles. I'm just trimming off the bottom so that it's nice and even. And then I'm going to be using some resin just to attach it onto the board. And the resin I'm using is the Let's Resin casting resin. So I'm mixing up 100 milliliters into the silicone cup that came with my Let's Resin mini resin mixer, which is a godsend for my arthritis. It's rechargeable with the USB cord, so I can use it completely hands-free, and I can use it anywhere. For the Snowflake tree topper, I'm just sprinkling in a little bit of Pinata Blanco alcohol ink and then putting the resin directly in the Snowflake, just a thin layer, not very thick at all. And then the rest of the resin I'm putting on top of the glass and letting it kind of seep down in between the pieces to connect them together and then to connect it to the board. This Let's Resin casting resin is not really meant as an art coat like this. It's more meant for molds. So what was happening, because the resin's so thin, it was really, it was spreading really nicely, and it really worked to attach the glass onto the board. I'm very happy with that. But the problem is, as it spread out a little bit more, it just created kind of a blotchy look. So I just took a really cheap Dollar Tree paintbrush and used it to kind of scrape the excess resin from between the branches so that I could coat the whole board. And what it ended up doing was creating some fish eyes, because I probably did have too thin of a layer. But I don't care that it has fish eyes. It really just adds to the snowy, frozen tundra look of it. And a couple of little starfish there to cover the holes. And then I am ready to put on a little bit of crushed glass dust, which I saved from when I crushed, and I'll put a link to that video in the description. The glass a few days ago. And now we're ready to demold the starfish. Here it is. It's the perfect tree topper. The resin's already cured, and you can see the fish eyes in there. But I just took some E6000 and attached it onto my board, and voila! She is done. I love using this blue glass. It's just so pretty, especially when there is, you know, light in the background and it shines on the glass. It's just so pretty. You can really see the fish eyes here, but I don't care. I like it. I might do another flood coat to cover the fish eyes, but I'm not too worried about it as long as I like it. And I think Mr. Krabs likes it too.